Hello everyone. This video will show how to rewrite a given trig expression into one single trigonometric ratio without a fraction. Let's go over this first example. So we're given secant of theta over cosine of theta minus tangent of theta over cotangent of theta. The first step that we need to do is to make sure that each of the trig function is expressed in terms of sine or cosine. So in this case right here, we only have one here, but this secant, tangent, cotangent can be expressed in terms of sine or cosine. Looking at the table on the side, we can see that this secant theta can be expressed as 1 over cosine of theta. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as. Now looking at the equation on the side, this tangent of theta can be expressed as sine of theta over cosine of theta. Now looking at the formulas on the side again, this cotangent of theta can be expressed as cosine of theta over sine of theta. From here, we can go ahead and simplify these complex fractions. We're going to start with this first complex fraction right here. So what we do is we are going to copy the numerator. So we're doing the first one here. I copy the numerator, that is 1 over cosine of theta, times, we're going to flip the denominator and multiply them across. We remember that this cosine of theta has an invisible denominator of 1. So flipping it, this would come out 1 over cosine of theta. So this is the simplified complex fraction of the first fraction that we have right here. So we go ahead and do the same thing on this side here. So I'm going to copy sine theta over cosine theta. I am going to flip the denominator. So this would come out sine of theta over cosine of theta. So then from here, we simplify further. So 1 times 1 is 1. And then we have cosine of theta times cosine of theta is cosine squared of theta. That is minus sine of theta times sine of theta is sine squared of theta. Cosine of theta times cosine of theta is cosine squared of theta. Now looking at the formula on the side, this 1 over cosine squared of theta is secant squared of theta. Now looking at the set of formulas on the side, this sine squared of theta over cosine squared of theta is tangent squared of theta. Now looking at the equation again on the side, this secant squared of theta minus tangent squared of theta is equal to 1. This tells us that this expression that we have right here, the given expression that we have, is equal to 1. Now let's have another example. In this example, we're given sine squared of theta plus 1 minus 2 sine squared of theta. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this given expression down here. If you notice, this sine squared of theta and this negative 2 sine squared of theta are like terms. So we go ahead and simplify them. Sine squared of theta minus 2 sine squared of theta is negative 1 sine squared of theta. And then we have a plus 1 right there. We can go ahead and rearrange this given expression as positive 1 minus sine squared of theta, or pretty much 1 minus sine squared of theta. Now looking at the equation that we have on the side, 1 minus sine squared of theta is equal cosine squared of theta. So this expression that we have up here is equal to cosine squared of theta. So that is how we rewrite a given trig expression into one single trig ratio without a fraction.